Hey there YouTube, it's the Link Dragon Order's Chief here, bringing you guys a deck profile for Link Dragon Order. This deck is pre-perfected Time Ruler. It's coming out later this month, but I thought I'd get this out anyways. Just for those who still are interested in Emperor Agito once God Agito comes out. Well, regardless, let's get into the deck profile. Right off the bat, Ancient Road Flag, needed for any Link Dragon deck. And for the buddy for this deck, it's Rumbling Thunder X Agito. For reasons I will get into right now, I run 4 copies of Rumbling Thunder X Agito. Right off the bat, he has 2 abilities. The first is to be able to give Soul Guard to all your Link Dragon Order cards, which is really good for giving some extra defense with the power of his D-Share, which at the start of battle, put a card from your drop zone into its soul. Now this is good just for getting some of your weaker units like Hara and Sumasaki some extra defense, so that they can be able to, withstand a few hits or a few destruction effects, so you can at least keep them on the board for at least a few turns. Plus this D-Share works out really well with Emperor Agito, since with this D-Share you can be able to put even more cards into your soul to get some few D-Share effects from your drop zone that you really want Emperor Agito to have. Like just the Hara for some extra health when he attacks, Sumasaki for extra defense. Just all around really good card, and I really like it as the buddy monster. Moving on, we have 4 copies of Emperor Agito. Basically the boss monster of the deck. I don't like to get him out that fast. Mainly I like to test the water a little bit with the size 1s, see what they can do first. But he is definitely the kill card of the deck. For those who don't know, to call him out, you need to pay 3 gauge, as well as take 4 Link Dragon Orders from your field and drop zone and put them into soul. Well, up to 4. So you can call him out without needing any in the soul, basically. He has the D-Share ability and also has Spiral D-Share, which gives him the ability of all D-Shares in his soul. In addition, at the start of your battle, you can mill the top 3 cards of your deck and take any D-Share from among them and add them into his soul. So basically giving him even more defense and even more D-Shares to be able to use to be able to just wreck your opponent with. And other than that, he has Penetrate, Double Attack, and Soul Guard. Definitely like the fact that he has Double Attack. King Agito didn't even have Double Attack, which I didn't learn until recently. That's why original Agito had Double Attack. Continuing on with the monsters, we have 4 Quick Wit Sumasaki. Really good card. He cannot be called unless you have a D-Share on the field, which does not really matter, because for the most part you're going to have a D-Share on the field. Plus he's size 0, so you can call him alongside Emperor Agito for some extra battle power. When he enters the field, you can gauge a card, then draw a card, which is pretty good, since you don't have to immediately rely just on G-Sen for some extra gauge build from your monster lineup. And he has a nice little D-Share of giving all monsters on your field 3,000 defense during your opponent's turn, which means you can defend quite a bit better, and it makes it harder for your opponent to even take down Emperor Agito, since his defense is going to be even beefier to get over. Moving on, we have 4 Loaded Hara. One of my favorite cards in the deck for the most part. His effect is just very simple. D-Share effect, when it attacks, gain 2 life. As simple as it is, it really does help. Link Dragons for the most part don't have many defense spells, so life gain can definitely help when it comes to elongating games and getting yourself a chance to make a comeback. And this, and just multiple D-Shares in the soul of Emperor Agito just helps out quite a lot, and it just can really annoy people, for the most part just having a lot of life. Next we have 3 Keener G-Sen. This is some of your extra gauge build in the deck. I used to run 4, but with Sumasaki you don't really need 4 in the deck. And got a great D-Share, preventing effect destruction. So this means that it's harder for people to be able to beat down your Emperor Agito, since they can't use effects to be able to destroy him. Then we have 3 Heavy Striker Kaina. Basically just some extra pressure. Increases critical of all D-Share on the field, meaning Agito, who's got a base critical of 3, at least with one of them in the soul, will have a critical of 4. So it just makes it hurt a lot more if your opponent just lets it through, and can really just help you push to your winning field. Moving on, we have 2, Assailant Tatagami. Basically just a tech choice for the most part. Its D-Share is on call, remove a soul from your opponent's field. Honestly, just really nice, because a lot of things do tend to have soul and be pretty problematic because of that. So just having the ability to get rid of your opponent's soul just helps out quite a lot. Then we have 2, Swift Claw's Wings. Another card you can call out alongside Emperor Agito. Its D-Share is that when you destroy a card in your opponent's field by battle, you get to deal a damage to your opponent, which is pretty nice. In addition, he's also got a counter effect on your opponent's turn to pay a gauge and put him on the bottom of a deck to be able to gain 2 life. So this way you can at least be able to make an extra comeback if your opponent thinks they have the game won, just from like effect damage or penetrate damage. Moving on to some 2 1-ofs. We have Sword Flash Go-Go. Pretty good. Pay a gauge, put top card deck into soul. If there are 3 or more cards with D-Share on the field, this card's attack cannot be nullified when it's attacking alone. And its D-Share is really nice in that when it attacks and destroys an opponent's monster, it can attack again. So pretty nice D-Share. Can really annoy people who play like some pretty annoying stuff, like what is it, Genesis Dragons? Then the other one of is 1 Bandit Leader of Bonds Masato. Pay gauge, top card of your deck into the soul. He has Soul Guard, and his D-Share effect is when you link attacks, destroy a monster in opponent's field and draw a card. Pretty simple. You get some extra hand advantage you want. The only non-Link Dragon Order card in the deck, as far as monsters go, is Philosophia. Simple enough. If you control size 3, pay a gauge and discard this card to restand it. Really nice to be able to just give Agito some extra attacks, and I really like that it got reprinted. Moving on to spells. First, we have 4 copies of Link Dragon Order's Links. Really handy spell card. Pretty much all Ancient World decks tend to run in one variant or another. Send 2 cards from the top of your deck to the drop zone, then use 1 or 2 effects. You can either put the top 3 cards of your deck into your gauge and gain 1 life, or you can destroy a monster on your opponent's field, which just having that extra option to be able to pop something instead of just build gauge can really help for a push when you really just need to get rid of something that's problematic. And the gauge build really helps since it's basically the full cost for Agito. Moving on, we have 4 copies of Link Dragon Order Spirit. This is the main defense spell of the deck, since the deck has a very high monster count and just a really big count of D-Share cards altogether. You may only cast this card when your opponent's attacking, and if I have a Link Dragon on the field, nullify the attack. Then you put the top card of your deck into the drop zone. If it was a D-Share card, add this card back to your hand. Basically just a good card to recycle your defense. Just have a really consistent defense card for the most part. It does suck when you don't get a D-Share card, but at the same time, the potential to be able to block a lot of attacks is there, and it's really helpful in some pretty bad situations. Moving on, we have 3 copies of Link Dragon Order's Hunt. A fairly simple card. Pay a gauge, and gain 1 life and draw 1 card for every D-Share on your field. And we only use it once per turn. Pretty simple, pretty good. Just nice way to be able to get some extra hand advantage, draw to your playmakers, and to be able to gain a little extra life on top of that, just to be a little more annoying. Then we have 2 Undying Link Dragon Order. Just another generic defense spell. When you're attacked while you have a Link Dragon, nullify the attack, and gain a life for every D-Share on the field. Potentially 4 to 2 gain for the most part. Maybe 1 if you only have Wild Axe, or just your item in general. Other 2 of is Divine Dragon Creation. Pretty standard. Pay 2 life, draw 2 cards. Simple enough. And the last spell we run in the deck is Link Dragon Order's Gathering. Pay 1 gauge, then use one of the following effects. You can put 1 Link Dragon Order with Agito from your deck to your hand, which is pretty nice, since you want to get out your Emperor Agito, or just get your Rumbling Agito to be able to either buddy call or just get something else that you need for the soul for Emperor Agito. Or you could add 2 Link Dragon Order from your drop zone with D-Share back to your hand. So basically you can have some extra plays to be able to make as well. So really good. And finally we have the items, which is 4 Order's Axe Wild Axe. Now I know it's basically the generic weapon for the most part, and there's definitely a few items that are definitely better for this deck, but I just like Wild Axe because I just enjoy the battle power, just having a little extra power to attack with. Plus, it prevents your Link Dragon Orders from having their effect nullified. So that's a total plus in my opinion. Just not being able to be nullified is pretty good. Alright, and that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed, and tune in for next time. Link Dragon Orders Chief, signing out.